BatchDialer. Guys, the BatchDialer is a phenomenal software. Mike and I have been using the dialer for, I think we started paying for it in September. So September, October, November, December, January. Shit, we're going on like 5 months of using it, and we were actually able to use it whenever it was in the beta. So I've actually seen these guys grow this from a single line with a bunch of bugs all the way up to literally one of the best dialers on the market. It's the one I'm using. We've switched from, what were we using? We were using Mojo. We were also using Smartphone because we were using Podio. And I just like all things batch, guys. If you follow me or know anything about, you know, what we do, what Mike and I do over here at the Discount Property Investor, we like batch. You know, batch skip tracing obviously is awesome. Batch leads for not only skip tracing but list stacking and cold SMS is a phenomenal service. Batch driven is amazing as well for driving for dollars. And then the BatchDialer is the newest of these products, guys. So definitely want to just do that demo today. And let's see here. How do I, oh, there we go. All right. And so guys, if you aren't familiar with it though, go check it out, batchdialer.com. If you do /Dave, you can actually get a 7-day free trial with unlimited dialing. So when we log in to the dialer, you're going to get a dashboard right here. And I don't know if any of my callers are actually on the clock right now. I think some of them start working here around 2. It's 2:03. So we'll probably get some action here from some of the callers. And basically we're here on reports and there's people on the clock. You'll see those live calls right here. So once they start dialing, we'll be able to, you can't see them now, no one on the clock, you know, going right now, but you'll see those calls dialing. You'll see when they connect. And then over here on the right side, you'll have 2 icons. And those 2 icons will allow you to listen in on that call, or you can even barge in on that call. So this feature here that I'm referring to is only useful if you have somebody else doing it on your behalf. If you're the one doing it, you can't listen to your own calls because it's going to be ringing, right? I think that kind of goes without saying. So, but just to kind of give you guys a quick demo of how this works, I'm logged in as House Sold Easy under David Dodge, which is just the admin account here. You can see the dashboard right whenever you come in. Next, you have campaigns. And you can see we have a couple campaigns in here. And some of these campaigns have a shit ton of leads in them. And I'm actually going to create a new campaign real quick right now. I'm going to call this new one. It's going to be Farmington High Equity. In this particular one, I'm going to push it into Podio. We're going to use the predictive dialer, which allows us to go up to, I think up to 10 lines maybe. Let's see here. So we're going to do DID group, redirect. Nope, we'll use the DID group for the caller ID. All the numbers that we have, we'll put in here. That way everybody can call on this particular campaign. And I'll get into that here in a second. If we wanted to add an agent script, we could add our script right there, or we could even create a new one. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add the contact list. And I don't have that list yet. Select agents or individual agents. So we have Rochelle, Jane, Dana, and myself in the system here. So we'll come back and we'll add the contacts here in just a second. So you can see I've added the Farmington High Equity campaign in Podio, and it says out of leads, right? So we're going to add one more here, and this one's going to be called South City High Equity. And these are lists that I actually just pulled with Mike yesterday. We pulled about 7,000 leads in total. And we skip trace those leads over in batch leads, and we already started SMS texting them. But in an effort to reduce the cost of the marketing, we take the data that we buy. So for instance, you know, we just got a list of Farmington High Equity. We just got a list of South City High Equity. we're going to take those lists and we're going to skip trace them, which again, we've already done. But what we're going to do is we're going to then take that data over to the caller as well, to the dialer. And the reason is because we can use the data multiple times. You know, we can cold text them, we can cold call them. We may even want to mail them, which doesn't even require skip tracing, but we want to hit these people as many ways as we can before we go get a new list and do another skip trace, right? Skip tracing has a cost. Dialing has a cost, but it's a fixed cost and you get unlimited of it. Texting has a cost as well. It's a small cost, but every text that goes out and or comes in is going to be a penny or two, right? It's going to have a cost. So basically, you know, the efforts that I'm talking about here today are, you know, really just to reduce costs all around. All right. So South City High Equity, this one's also going to go into Podio. We have a couple different CRMs that we use. So I just sometimes label them. That way the VAs, when they know they're in this one, hey, send these leads to Podio. We also have realestateinvestor.com as a CRM and REI Black Book. Guys, we have all kinds of systems and softwares. Don't necessarily do as I do. Instead, you know, do as I say. Just keep it simple. Just pick one. We do a lot of coaching. I'm also just kind of a nerd, and I like to just see what different companies are doing and what's new. So that's why we have multiple. So again, I'm going to add all the numbers that we have in our system to this other campaign here. We'll have the cold calling script, or we can create a new one. I don't have any contact lists yet, but I will. But I do want to add in the agents, and you can see here I'm adding in all the numbers and all the agents. However, you could select one agent or one number, and that's how you basically specify the people on your team, how they are going to be able to access that campaign or not. So now you can see I've got a Farmington high equity campaign and I got a South City high equity campaign, and either one of those has leads in them. So I'm going to head on over to batch leads just for a second so I can actually export or push. I think maybe you can even push at this point. Give me 1 second here. All right, log in. I think it's that one. I always forget my damn login here. I wouldn't be surprised if I get the password wrong. There it goes. Second time's the charm. All right, so here's the batch leads account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to my skip tracing area, and I should see these 2 skip traces in here. Yeah, one of them was 4,900 records, and it actually got 4,500 of them. The other one was 2,500, and then it got about 2,000. So right there you have 6,500 leads. Now I can push this to a campaign. I can add to a database, or I can export. I don't even know what add to database does. So I'm just going to export these. So this will be the South City one on the top, and this one will be the Farmington one. So this one here will be our South City. Let's go ahead and rename that on the desktop. South City High Equity. All right, and then this other one here would be the Farmington. So I'm just labeling these on my desktop here. All right, so I got both of those saved. So I don't really need batch leads anymore. You can see that we do a lot of texting in here. So if I go to my SMS reports before we hop back, yesterday we sent 900 messages. Looks like we were off for a couple days just working on catching up with leads. But prior to that, we had sent 300 on the 15th. We had sent 2,000 on the 14th. So just to kind of show you guys some of our volumes here, you know, we do a lot of texting. So this is basically the 6th, we did 1,000. The 8th, we did 1,100. A couple of days off for the weekend, then 200, 600, 300, and then 2,000. So again, it kind of depends on how many we're sending a day. We try to get messages out every day. Sometimes we will take a couple days off though and just work on following up with leads in our system, right? So not a big deal. It's just kind of how that works. All right. So then here's our campaigns. You can click the recycle button here to actually recycle through a campaign. So you can actually hit a campaign, you know, that may be old a second or a third time and recycle through it. Next, you have your contacts. All right. So what in order for me to get these contacts added, so this is your individual contacts. You can see if they've been dialed or undialed. You can actually, see, I want to see people that's been dialed 19 times or more. Look at this. We have a bunch of those. See people that have been dialed 38 times or more. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 people in our system that have been dialed 38 times, guys. So these dialers are just constantly hitting people. And the goal is to either get them on the phone and confirm that they have a property that they want to sell, or for them to tell us that they don't own it and they don't want to sell it and they don't want us talking to them for any reason. If they say quit calling, I mean, we do, right? We're not trying to spam people, but we are trying to solve problems and let people know that have problems that we can help them, right? So that's where the dialer comes in. It's really, really handy because it'll do multiple lines at the same time. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to import a list. You can see I have lists over here, and these are all lists that I basically added in whenever we first got the dialer. I basically went into my archives, and anything that I had that was skip traced already, anything, I don't care if it was 5 years old, I added it in here. And I let the virtual assistants that we have on the team go to work and start calling those people. And it doesn't matter if the data is old necessarily. Phone numbers typically stay the same, right? They sometimes people will get a new number, right, or change their number, but it's pretty rare. Phone numbers really stay the same for quite some time, especially when you're talking to property owners. If you're talking to somebody that's, kind of poor or underclass or something along those lines, no offense to, anybody that may be watching, but they may get new phones often. They may, they may not get the bill paid in time, and then the thing just gets canceled, right? And then they have to start all over. Well, when you're dealing with people that own properties, they're typically a little bit more responsible. Not always, but typically, right? So these numbers are good. So you can see we've added in, 5 different pages of lists. And every time that I go over into batch leads and I create new lists, or, either from PropStream or from batch leads, but I always skip trace in batch leads because of the list stacking that they do, but also SMS, like why not? It's all there, right? So today I'm just going to import some contacts. So let's start with the Farmington list that I had on my desktop here. I'll drop that right in there. The cool thing is when you're doing something from like batch leads to batch leads, it usually is pretty simple. All right, so that didn't look like that worked, but that's all right. We can click here and we're going to go down to Farmington. Where's my Farmington? There it is, Farmington Equity. So we're going to open that file, and you'll see it processing.
I'm going to jump in here for a second.
I
had this issue yesterday with loading Excel sheets, and I was talking to them. They said maybe convert it to a CSV file. And once I did that,
that's a good idea. It doesn't look like it wants to take it. Usually it's like really easy, but that's all right. So here's what I'm going to do, guys.
That's the same thing that was happening to me.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I'm going to go over to my desktop. I'm going to duplicate this particular file, and then I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to do .csv. I don't know if that's actually going to really convert it or not. If not, I can always open it up in Excel and do it. But when I click, I'm using a Mac, so it says whenever I change it to .csv, it says, do you want to keep as XLS or use the .csv? So I'm going to click .csv and see if that does anything. It may or may not. It doesn't look like it did, so that's all right. So here's what I'm going to have to do, guys. I'm going to have to pull this up in Excel real quick. No big deal at all. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to save it as. And I'm going to select the CSV as the file format down at the bottom. So you guys are probably not seeing what I'm seeing. .csv, so we're going to save that. And did I put that on my desktop? It did. All right, so now I have the Farmington High Equity CSV. And I might as well just go in and do that on the South City High Equity just real quick while I'm in here as well, guys. So I got that one pulled up. I'm going to click Save As, File Format, and we're going to use the .csv. And we're going to save that one as well. So now we have those files on the desktop as XLSXs, which is just your Excel, as well as the CSVs. So now we're going to click back up here. Actually, I'm going to do a quick refresh just to make sure that the system's clean, and there's nothing going on in the background here. So then I'll click here, and now I'm just going to go down and I'm going to find that Farmington High Equity, but the CSV file. That's going to go ahead and upload. It should process, and then once that's done, it should pull up the mapping area. So it looks like it's working this time around. Let's hope at least. Come on. I'm actually going to do the other one in the background here while it's going. So let's click on this one, and then this one we're going to do the South City CSV. Get that loaded as well. So you know what? I think I might have done this CSV wrong, because look at the South City one pulled up right away. So now that you have the mapping, again, that was the Farmington one on the left. And then the one on the right was the South City one. So this is the South City one. Okay, cool. So next I'm going to import my first name. So that's from my source file. So now I'm just matching numbers, guys. This is the easy part right here. So there's my first name. Next I'll do my last name. Next will be the property address. So it would be this one. So the address. This one would be the property city. So there's my city. Next will be my property state. Did this one work? Yeah, that one's not going to work either. So I just need to redo that Farmington one. I must have hit the wrong. Sometimes there's a couple CSV options. So you just want to click just the simplest, cleanest one, right? So next would be input property zip. So that would be the zip code. Next would be the mailing address. So that's just going to be down on here a little bit. There's my mailing, and my mailing city, my mailing state, and my mailing zip. And see, the state is actually wrong. It warned me because I didn't click mailing state. So you want to make sure that the mailings all say mailing in front. So mailing zip, mailing state, mailing city, mailing address. And then this one will just be the zip, the state, the city, and the address, first and last name. That's really all I need on the top part. The rest of it would just be the phone numbers. And then I usually, if it allows for an email, which I think that there is an email field, I'll usually just do email 1 as email. I don't really worry about email 2 or 3 or any of this other stuff. So next I'll do phone number 0, and I'll actually put that as number 1. For whatever reason on these CSVs, they always do phone 0 up to 9, but it's no different than 1 through 10, right? Like the fact that they number that as 0, I think that is a little confusing to some people, but don't let it confuse you. I guess the point I'm trying to make. So phone number 1 would actually be phone number 2. Phone number 2 would actually be phone number 3. Phone number 3 would become phone number 4. And phone number 4 would become phone number 5. And guys, you can go all the way down the whole entire list. I typically stop at 4 or 5. There's really not that much need to add phone number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can if you want. So, you know, in this case, we could maybe just add one more. Again, the virtual assistants are going to be the ones doing the legwork here. So, you know, I'm only paying $5 an hour to my callers. So it's not a huge deal if I have them calling a lot of extra numbers. You know, the problem is that most of those numbers are not going to get directly to the person. You know, typically the number that matters is going to be the first, second, the third, in decreasing order, right? So number 1 is going to be the best chance of reaching that seller. Number 2 is going to be a lot less chance, but maybe you will. And then number 3 is even more. So again, when it comes to the numbers, you know, don't get too carried away. Go to 4 or 5. In this scenario, I went to 6, but that's really it. So as long as you have in first name, last name, address, which is going to be very important because you want to be able to pull that data when you're on the phone with the people, so you can kind of start looking into it. And then you line up your as many phone numbers as you want, and then throw an email in there as well. And that's really it. So from there, I have all those fields that are matched. The list name is the South City High Equity. That's my list there. I want to assign this to a campaign. I can actually do this right here. So I'm going to find my South City High Equity for Podio right there. I want to scrub against existing contacts. If we've already called them, I don't really necessarily want to create more work for my callers. So I'm going to scrub against my existing contacts. I want to remove my duplicates. And I'm not really going to worry so much about my federal do not call. I will scrub against my company do not call, which is just local. And the reason I'm not scrubbing against the federal do not call is because I'm not selling anything, right? So that would be really important if I was, out here trying to sell somebody a product or a service. But in fact, I'm not selling anything. And really what I'm doing is the exact opposite. I'm trying to buy something, right? So I'm not going to scrub against that. And I don't really care to scrub mobiles in or out because I just want to get people on the phone. But I do want to scrub my internal do not call. And I do want to scrub any litigators that are known by anybody out there at all, just because I don't want to deal with those people. I feel like litigators are really more or have been more profound or just a thing in the SMS space than they are the cold calling space. But either way, if somebody's known to be a litigator and they're trying to sue you for sending them a text or an email, just scrub them out. Like, why waste time doing that, right? So that's kind of how I typically run mine. And then I'm going to click submit. And then what it's going to do in the background is it's going to start importing that South City list into my campaign here. So you'll see active out of leads on both of those. But if I refresh here in a second or two, you should start seeing leads come into those. So let me go back really quick, guys, and redo this Farmington one so I can just get both of these added real quick. I'm going to pull up that Excel. Got it pulled up. We're going to click Save As. And I am going to just do a comma delimited CSV. I think the one I did last time was a comma separated. But the one you want to do is just the common format. So again, I don't think you guys are looking at my screen right here. But when you do go into Excel and you want to export, there's common formats and there's specialty formats. So just use the common ones. So I'm looking for the common delimited CSV. And that's why it didn't save properly last time. All right, so let's go ahead and save that, and we can get out of Excel. Perfect. Now let's go back over here to our lists, which are going to be in contacts. It's kind of a drop down. It's a little kind of hard to see the list sometimes if you're, like, let's say you're just in dashboard, you might not see it. So you got to click on contacts, and then it'll be the lower of the two. So I'll click on lists, and then I'm going to import the other list now. So now I want to do the Farmington High Equity, which again I had to redo because I had the wrong type of CSV file. So that's updating, processing, boom. See how fast that happens? You'll know you got the right file type right away or not. So guys, I'm gonna do the exact same thing again here, right? So I'm going to do first name, last name, property address, property city, property state, property zip, mail address, mail city. You can also type, kind of speed it up just a little bit. So I'm looking for mail state, and then I could do mail zip, do email. And again, once you have in the basic first name, last name, property address, mailing address, and the email, the next part is just the numbers, guys. So phone number is just going to be number 0 would be 1. Phone number 1 would be 2. Phone number 2 would become 3. Phone number 3 would become 4. And phone number 4 would be 5. And I'm just going with 5 today, guys. But really, do the first 3 at a minimum. If you want to do 4 or 5 like I do, great. All the power to you. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of need, though, to go beyond 5, just because I think that you're just going to have so many numbers that are going to be bad numbers. They're not going to get to who you want to get through. If you have extra time to kill, add them all, by all means. You get unlimited dialing, so it's not a huge deal. But in the sake of trying to be efficient, right, with efficiency being on the mind, I typically stop at 4 or 5. So in this case, we're just going to go to 5, and we're going to click the little next arrow, And we're gonna do the same thing. So this time I'm gonna move this one over to the Farmington High Equity Podio campaign. I wanna scrub against existing contacts. I wanna scrub my internal list, and I wanna scrub my litigators. So we'll leave off the mobiles and the do not calls federals. Again, that's more for selling things than buying, guys. We are in the game of buying real estate, right? It's at least for the marketing purposes. So, yep, click submit. And that is going to start importing those leads to that other campaign. So now if I go up to my campaigns, it shows these are both active out of leads. But if I click over here and click on, let's see here, edit, you can kind of see if you wanted to edit the particular campaign. Oh yeah, and right here, I can actually add contacts or import contacts. So I would think, yep, look, that one's already started. So it just took a second, right? Just give it some time. But there you go. So I just added 2 lists, and and then I push those lists into these new campaigns. Now, one thing I do want to do is I want to see if there's a push to area. If I click over here on this advanced mode, it's going to give me more options, right? So check this out. This is also where you're able to adjust your lines. You can go all the way up to 10 lines at once if you want to, which is pretty cool. We have our callers typically just stay on 3. That way they're not getting too many people that are getting called while they're on a call. You want to kind of keep those numbers down, but at the same time, you don't want them sitting there all day waiting to be connected. So I really recommend 3 or 4 lines, right? If you want to go to 7 or 8 or 10, by all means, guys, do it, right? Call type, you have auto answer or beep once. I actually like it when it beeps, just so I know, hey, wake up. That way it means you've been connected, right? The predictive dialer is going to be the one that's going to have the multi-lines. I believe if you go to the preview dialer, let's see here. What does this say? It says predictive dialer will call phone numbers automatically and will help agents connect to prospects faster by automatically screening through busy signals, voicemails, no answers, and disconnected numbers. The preview dialer allows agents to go through calls manually. So, if you want to do the preview dialer, go for it. But I highly recommend the predictive, because it's just going to basically use computer AI to help you connect with more and more people, right? That's kind of the goal, is to connect with as many people as you can. Now, the abandoned timeout, again, all of these settings are going to be within the campaign. Click edit campaign, and then you're going to click advanced mode, right? Okay, so then the abandoned timeout is basically the amount of time that you want to basically abandon the call and you want to move on to the next one, right? I believe 15 seconds is going to be a better setting than 30 because basically if nothing has happened, it doesn't hear a ring sound, it's just, whatever, it's just going to basically move on to the next call after 15 seconds versus 30. See, the defaults are both set to 30. So, you can leave those there if you want, or you can move them down. For simplicity, let's just leave these on. Actually, I'm going to put the abandoned timeout at 15 seconds and the max time for the ring. This is the maximum ring time before the dialer hangs up and dials the next number. Sometimes people have long ring times. It really depends. If you're on like a cell phone, like with AT&T or Singular or whatever, those are all going to basically be pretty fixed. The phone carriers are going to determine that. But if you're calling somebody that has a VoIP phone, basically a phone through the internet, like I'm using right here, they can determine that ring time. And like I know on our personal phones for our business, we have our ring time set at 23 seconds. I don't know why we decided to go with that number. I just kind of listened to how many rings I thought was necessary. And 23, I think, got me like 5 or 6 rings before the voicemail. So neither here nor there, just something to be aware of. But I'm going to put my abandoned timeout at 15 and my ring time at 30. Answer machine detection is enabled. So let's see, by enabling this option, we'll allow the dialer to automatically skip through calls when an answer machine was detected. And then we do have the call recording enabled. I don't even know how to go view that. So that'll be something to definitely we'll dive into. Here's the individual numbers, and I'll go over there in a second here once I'm done configuring this particular campaign, which is our South City High Equity campaign. The calling hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I believe my dialers dial from 9 to 6. I have 3 people on 20 hours a week. So basically, I usually have somebody calling around the clock. I don't think anybody's on the clock right this second, but no big deal, right? Next is call results. So I want to add all the call results that are going to matter, right? So you can, and again, I'll get to the phone system call results in just a second. But once I have the call results added, I'm going to want to go here and I'm going to add all those. So answering machine, busy, call back, disconnected number, do not call, drop voicemail, no answer, not interested, successful sale, voicemail, wrong number, and abandoned. So, I mean, you can add as little or as few as you want. If you only want to have 3 or 4 options to keep it simple, that's fine too. This drop voicemail one is one that I had set up that actually drops the voicemail. So the BatchDialer does do that. I've heard people say that they've had trouble setting that up or that they weren't sure if it did it. It does. You have to just kind of go set that up, which is pretty easy, and I can show you how to do that here in a second. Max attempts per record, the number of times the system will attempt to dial a phone number before a connection is established. I'm actually going to take that down to 3. If I can't get somebody to, if I can't get a phone number to work, now this isn't how many times I'm going to call them. This is how many times it's going to attempt to call one number each time. So maybe you try to get a number and it doesn't work, right? It's got a busy signal or something like that. Well, I don't want to try that number too many times. Maybe I'll take that to 4, right? But you don't want that to be too high, because if it's a bad number, why would you keep calling it, right? If it gets you through, then it has nothing to do with max attempts, right? So this is, just be aware that that's, you know, something to do more of, is the number a good number versus am I going to keep following up with that number, right? I think the default's 5, actually. Let's just leave it at 5, whatever. Retry time after an unsuccessful attempt to connect to a number. The system will retry to dial that phone number after the specified time. So it looks like they have it set for 30 minutes later. And again, you could change that if you wanted to. I'm actually going to take that down to 4. I think 5 is a little aggressive, but whatever, guys. It doesn't really matter. It's really up to you. Agent script. We have a cold calling script in here already, and you can create one or you can add one right there. Next will be the contact list. So I could actually go pull multiple lists and put them into this one campaign. So right here, it just basically shows any lists that are associated with this campaign. I can import more right here, or I can actually go and I can add other lists if I wanted to. But I want to keep this one pretty clean with just that one there. Call order is you could do adaptive. You could do high score leads first or low score leads first. It's really just the call order. I think we've always used adaptive, but you know, high score leads first too. Our goal is to get through the entire campaign. So this really doesn't necessarily matter to me. If we were to do high score leads first or adaptive, every person's getting called regardless. So again, it's just kind of a preference thing, right? And then last but not least, you have a couple options down here. You can assign agent groups or individual agents. I just chose to use individual agents because I don't have any of my groups set up. Scrub the federal do not call. I have that one as no, and the company is yes. And that's it. I'm going to save that campaign because I made a couple edits to it. And you can see I've got 2,800 leads in my South City one, and I've got 1,639 in my Farmington one. So guys, give me 1 second here. I'm going to go into this Farmington one just while I'm in here, and I'm going to just double check some of these things. So I have predictive dialer, auto answer. Let's put that over to beep. 3 lines, abandoned time. I want to put at 15, max ring at 30. All that stuff looks good. I do need to add my call results though. So it is important that once you add a campaign that you go into the campaign, you edit it, you click on advanced mode, because otherwise you won't have these call results. So you want to have an abandoned, you know, busy. I guess I can just add all of these and then just take out the ones I don't want, right? That'd probably be the easiest. So I don't want unknown. I don't want no answer. I don't want that one. Abandoned. We can leave. Busy, we can leave. Callback, we can leave. Disconnected number, we can leave. Do not call. Successful sale. Not interested. Answering machine. We're not even going to want that one because we're going to be dropping voicemails. And then wrong number. Sure. So again, don't overthink it, guys. Just make sure that you do drop a voicemail in there, and you're going to want to add that into the phone system, which I'll show you here next. Max attempts per record's fine. Retry time 30 minutes is fine. There's my calling script, adaptive. There's my list. I don't have any groups, but there's my agents. Federal, no. Company, yes. Save my campaign. So I basically just configured both of those campaigns just like that, all right? So contacts, again, is going to be individual. You can also search in here. So if I wanted to find all the people in here named Dan, there is 15 people. And these are the people. There's their address. There's their phone numbers. And if I wanted to call a particular person, I could click on here, and I can actually call right from here by clicking the follow-up call. And it's going to dial right from the browser. And here's our call script right here, guys. You can actually click on these numbers here as well to call. So there's my lead info, and there's my email too. So if I click on this, it pulled up my email. I don't have my whole screen shared with you guys, but I mean, I can email right from here too. Now it's going to pull up your email, but as long as you have a Yahoo or a Gmail account that's open, when you click that, it's going to pull that right up. It's really cool. Or if you're using a Mac, it may use like Apple Mail. But again, it's really what you have configured on your own system. Next would be any activities. Next, you may have campaigns. And then, of course, you can click to add notes, right? You can add your note right there. So that's basically the contacts area. And then, again, the list is a drop-down of the contacts, okay? Next is going to be your users. So you saw me adding users earlier, and you're going to see that we have agent statuses. So we have available as available, and everything else basically puts them unavailable if they're on a break or they're on lunch or they're in training. So you can configure these to move over, and you can also add groups right here too. I had groups at one point, but I just figured, hell, it's just easier to do it this way. So you can see I do have Dana as an agent, I have Jane as an agent, and I have Rochelle as an agent. And the agents have their little phone number or the little phone next to agent. You can also see the number of campaigns that they're on. So it looks like Jane has an extra campaign. So we need to maybe look into that, but I'm not going to do that right now. We'll look into that at another time. You can also search by roles and by groups if you want, and then you can add a new user right here as well. So that's basically the users area. Next will be the phone system itself, all right? So phone system, I'm on the phone numbers, which it defaults to. And you can see that I have I have 6 numbers. And the reason I have 6 numbers is when I signed up back in September, I was instructed to get 2 phone numbers per agent because, again, they were in beta. So I don't know if it's necessarily something that they are suggesting. But they just basically said, having 2 numbers is better than 1, and these numbers are like $1 a month. So I basically have 2 numbers for each of my callers, right? So each person is assigned numbers, and you can see that there is redirects on all 6 of these too. So this is the number right here, but it actually redirects to this number. You'll notice that my redirect number is the same number, right? And the reason is I have 3, not sharing my screen with you guys. Sorry about that. I have 3. So this is the actual number here, right? But the redirect is the same number. So these are all different numbers because they're different numbers. There's the name, which is the number, essentially, right? But the redirects are all the same. And the reason I do that is because I want to get all of the callbacks. I don't care who's making the call. I don't care what campaign they're calling on. I don't care what time of day they're calling. But if anybody calls back, I want to capture that. And I don't want to have to go find it somewhere, right? So I set up a voicemail box on our primary phone, which is smartphone, but you guys can do this on Google phone. What's the Google phone called, Mike?
Google Voice.
Google Voice. You can use Google Voice for free if you need a voicemail box. So just go create a Google Voice number and just put that number in right there. That way, all the callbacks that you get, you know, if you want to call back those people that maybe don't leave a voicemail, but they come into your system as a missed call, call them back, or you can start monitoring those voicemails as they come back in too. So again, we have all of those redirects come in to the same voicemail box. And quite honestly, we check it like maybe once a day. You know, we'll just spend 15 or 20 minutes and go in and listen to 30, 40 different voicemails. And, you know, at this point in time, I'm just kind of weeding out the people that are calling back to that don't have any motivation, right? If they're calling just because they wanted to see who I was, or, you know, they're curious or something like that, I'm not even going to waste my time calling those people back. But if they call back and they say, hey, yeah, I got your voice message, and I actually do own a property and I do want to sell it, so call me. Well, then boom, that's a great lead. I'm going to call that individual, right? So again, it's kind of a preference thing on what you decide you want to do. But you can buy numbers right up here. You can search by your state. You can search by your area code. So if I wanted to buy another number, I would go to a Missouri number, and I would do an area code of, let's say, 314. I could even do 636, and then I can click search. And then it's going to pull, search has started, so you have to kind of give it a second here. But it's going to pull a bunch of different options. And then I can click this particular number, and I could assign this to myself, Rochelle, Dana, or whoever, or even to a caller group, guys. So it's got a lot of functionalities in here, which is really cool. You can also add it to a call queue. I just use it as an extension, basically, of the callers, right? So each of these callers that I have, 2, 4, 6, there's 3 callers. Each one's got 2 numbers, guys. It's pretty simple. Next would be your do not call list, and this would be your internal do not call. So I already have 3,286 numbers on my internal do not call, which is really cool. I can also upload a do not call list from another platform, which might be a good idea. Maybe I'll go into batch leads at some point today and export the entire do not call from my batch leads and import that in here just to eliminate calling people that don't want to be called, right? Efficiency is the name of the game. So there you go. I've just got myself a to-do list item right there. I need to add in the do not calls from my other systems. Next, you have inbound calls. So if you did have a queue, actually, I don't even know what the inbound call is. I think you can actually set this up to kind of be your own voicemail box. But again, we already use a phone system for our basically like our main business as well as one-offs. So we just forward it into that. But if you guys don't already have a system, you know, maybe that's what this part is here. I'm not exactly sure. The Ivr Auto Attendant. Now this is what we were talking about. I'm sorry, not the Ivr Auto Attendant. You can actually create a new IVR, which is basically just smart. This right here just says, well, after a hang up, what do you want to do? Right? You want to forward this number. So your IVR is basically just AI in place. Do you want this number to ring a certain phone between, you know, 3 and 7 p.m.? Well, then you set that up here. Otherwise, just leave it blank and don't mess with it like I did. Call results, probably the most important part, right? Because you had to add these call results. So if I go over here, open a new tab, and I go to my campaigns, right, and I click on any of these campaigns here, right? Let's just say this test 1233333 has 1 lead in it. But I need to go over here and I need to click edit, and then I need to click auto or advanced mode, and I need to scroll down, and I need to make sure that the call results are here, right? You can add or remove these as needed, but you definitely want to have the drop voicemail in there, or else it's not going to do anything when it gets time to drop that voicemail. All right. So the call results, you're going to have a bunch of defaulted ones. Like you can see, do not call is a default. Drop voicemail, we've made it a default. No answer is a default. So again, you can add these by clicking add new call result. So on ours, the most important one is drop voicemail, which is this green one. So you can see if I click here to edit, you can see call result name would be drop voicemail. Number group, I can select number group, or I can redirect. What does that even mean? I don't even think that matters, but it is active. So also make sure that your call results, the one you want to you know, the ones that you want are scheduled to be active versus inactive. When you create them, I don't know what that defaults to. So again, just take your time when you're in here. Next is all of my campaigns, right? So this one is going to be on every campaign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 campaigns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all of those are in there. Show on the new campaign page, which is the default. So I guess if the default's on, you may not need to add it in the advanced settings. But again, just double check it. You never know, right? And then last but not least would be your rules. So I have my rules set to do not redial a contact if we drop them a voicemail, right? You could have it do not redial the number. You could do add contact to do not call, or you can do add number to do not call after the voicemail was dropped, right? So I do not redial contact. You could also mark it as a lead or send an email. So if you wanted to send an email to yourself, saying follow up with this person that I left a voicemail in 3 days, or I mean, you can do whatever you want here, right? But then you definitely want to make sure that you have send voicemail, and then you're going to want to make sure that you have something recorded. If you don't, click add a new one, and you can record your audio right here. You can do text to speech, which I don't recommend, or you can actually, upload your own audio. So what I did was just literally pulled up QuickTime on my computer, and I just did a quick little voicemail that literally, I don't know if I can even check it. I don't know if it'll let me check it or not, but basically it goes like this. Hey, this is David from House Sold Easy. I'm calling about a property that I believe you own. I'm an investor and I'm looking to buy a few more in the area. Give me a call back at, and I just use my main company number right there, not the number I'm calling from because it's going to come from different numbers, right? But basically I have one voicemail that I drop. So even though I have a bunch of cold callers, doing the calling efforts for me, the voicemail is going to be the same regardless of who makes that call. Also, when they call back, I have them all redirecting to one number. Well, that voicemail is also me that says, hey, this is David with House Sold Easy. I'm so sorry I missed you. Thanks for calling. Please leave me your name, your phone number, and that property address that, I was either calling you about or that, whatever. Just keep it simple. But to basically say, hey, this is David with House Sold Easy. Sorry I missed you. Thanks for calling. Please leave me your name, phone number, and property address, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Have an awesome day. That's it, period. Just end it, right? Keep it simple. So yeah, that's it right there, guys. So make sure that you add the call results and add in your voicemail on those. And then that's it. That's basically all the features on the side. If we go up to this and click on settings, you're going to basically, you can look at lead score. So one of those settings in campaigns was, do you want it to just call based upon, going through sequence, or do you want to call the highest ranked leads first? Well, BatchDialer has got a proprietary technology, which I think is pretty cool, but they actually score your leads for you. So was the lead created from a CSV file that was imported 3 weeks ago? Lead doesn't contain an email. So, I mean, they're just some of the things, right? But basically, they're going to give you a calculation. So it looks like my lead score, lead base, your contact is warm lead. So I have a lead score of, 42, which is between 36 and 60. So some lists may have a lower lead score. Others may have a higher lead score. Again, I don't really know how they are doing that. It looks like you can even add in a rule, right? So, phone type is mobile, add a point. So you can actually create your own ways to do this, right? Last call result would probably be a more beneficial thing. Call attempts, import date. So you can score your leads as well in this system as well if you want to add those rules, but they have a simple way of doing it as well. You can add in your agent script. So again, I'm up here in the settings area right now. You can have in your agent scripts, and it looks like we just have one, and it's a pretty basic script. It just says, hi, I'm looking for, and there's a yes response, there's a how much, there's a no response, in the future response, or how'd you get my number response. And that's it, guys. Like, let the callers have the ability to modify this if they want, or even add in their own, right? So I'm kind of the anti-script guy, just because I think it's more important to just make a friend. I really do. I feel like you're going to have a lot better results not trying to follow a script word for word. If you want to have a script Like the best scripts, in my opinion, are the bullet point scripts. Something to just kind of look at and review. Like, okay, did I ask them how big the house was? Did I ask them how much work it needs? Did I ask them their asking price? And then right behind that, did I ask them, is that the best they can do? Right? All these little things. But it's good to have a list of those items. But sometimes whenever you are using a list, or I shouldn't say a list, a script, you sound like a robot. So I encourage all of my virtual assistants to just create a bullet list. And basically the one that we did here, you know, you don't even have to read it word for word if you want. Like this part here, maybe, right? That's fine. But basically after you get that initial sentence or two out, just wait, just listen. And if they ask a question, answer it. Just be a human, make a friend, right? So don't overthink the whole call script feature, guys. Most of the agents that we have don't even use it. But again, we just have it in there just because. Why not, right? You have your audio library. So here is the batch voicemail that's being dropped. You guys want to hear it real quick?
Hey, this is David Dodge from House Sold Easy, calling about a property that I believe you own. I wanted to see if you had interest in selling that property. Give me a call back at the number I'm calling you from, or you can reach me directly at 314-463-4100. Again, this is Dave, calling about a property that I believe you own. Looking forward to talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I actually said the number I'm calling from, or I gave them two options, guys, and then I gave them my number, right? And that number is just another number of mine that I own that they can call, and it's all going to forward into the same voicemail box. So again, don't overthink that, right? They also have integration. So if you wanted to set up Zapier, you could. You have yourself an address book, which I don't even understand what that is. Then you have your billing, and you have your profile. So I have mine set to 3 agents on the performance plan because I have 3 agents. And you can see I've been paying these guys all the way back since September. So I've been using this for several months now. And then, of course, your profile. So if I had somebody on, I can go over to my reports, and this is where you do your monitoring. It'll show you any active campaigns or even any active calls. You can see if you have any agents that are on right now. So it looks like today's the 21st. Looks like Jane's already done 2 hours of calling today. Dana's done 1 hour and 43 minutes. And Rochelle has done 1 hour and 47 minutes. Let's pull up Slack and see if anybody's over here working. Doesn't look like anybody's on at the moment, but that's all right. But again, you can see what they were doing. So of Jane's 2 hours, she was on calls for 16 minutes. Dana looks like she had a lot of success and was on calls for like 90%, well, 80%, give or take, of that 1 hour and 43. And then you can also see what they were doing. So you can use this to kind of manage your VAs if you want to say, you know, why did you spend 1 hour on prep work, right? And only 16 minutes on calls, you know, and again, not a big deal, but it definitely it helps you see what's going on. So after the call, there was 22 minutes of her basically adding that lead into the CRM. Now you can make notes and tasks in here as well. And I totally encourage that unless you have a more powerful system that you can take that data out that may be doing some work on your behalf. And that's really what I love about, you know, about CRMs like Touch, realestateinvestor.com's Touch, or REI Black Book. You can add these in, and then you can set up auto RVMs or emails or text messages on a drip, you know, for 3 or 4 or 5 months out, just to keep following up these people, assuming that you aren't able to get them on the phone right away. But again, you can see here in the reports area, your agents, you can see your numbers. You can see any inbound to those numbers. And again, they all forward out. So you're not going to see any on mine, but you can see the destinations are all going to be the same if they call those, as well as the time that each number has been calling out, right? So you can see that each agent has 2 numbers and it's splitting those up. Again, I don't necessarily know if it's necessary to have 2, but again, they recommended it when I signed up, so that's what I did, right? Now this is just for today. So if I wanted to change this to like last month, you can see that changes everything. I mean, everything changes, right? So you go over here to agents, and I wanted to put that on last month. You know, you can see that on a call, she was on a call for 8 hours. She was on a call for 23 hours. She was on a call for 13 hours. So that's basically there. You can see your campaigns and, you know, what's working and just kind of track everything. Here's your recent contacts, and you can kind of see, you know, in real time what's happening. If I want to listen into that call, I can listen
Voice
in.
Message system 44399.
So everything is being recorded and it's being stored in here. So that's something I kind of need to look at is how do I go back, and you can create tasks right here as well. So again, if you don't have a real powerful CRM, you can create your tasks right in the calendar feature right up here at the top. Okay, so what's this little blue thing do? That was just my customer support. Can I move that little thing? No, I guess not. Okay, so basically though, we don't have anybody live and we don't have anybody active. Now I don't have a dialer seat actually for my name. I just have it for my 3 callers. So what I can do though, is I can log in under a different user as the full admin. So if you are the full admin, then you will just be able to go up to the top and let's say you just have one account, and I'm just going to use Dana's, for example, right? Access denied, but then I let it refresh, and then boom. So I'm logged in right now as Dana. So again, I can go back to David at House Sold Easy, which is my admin account, or I can be logged in as Dana. So this is what Dana sees, right? This is what your callers would see, all right? And what I can then do is I can go over here to a campaign, and I can say, hey, I want to start calling the South City High Equities. So let's click active on this one. What's it doing here? What's it doing? And then essentially though, once I select the campaign, all I do is click up here and click on available. And by clicking on available, that's going to start this thing to start dialing. There's really no like on or off. It's basically I'm either available or I'm doing one of these tasks right here, right? So let's give this just another second or two. See if I can't refresh and see what that does anything. Active, no agents. Okay, so active. So I think I just click that and then I click available. Okay, there we go. That you don't even need to mess with the campaigns. This is just showing, this is basically just a dashboard. Here's my contacts. So you can see that they're the dialers, like the actual agents, they are going to have a lot less features. They're not going to be able to do as much things, but that's good because they can't get in there and screw things up. So there's a pro and a con there, right? You can see the recent contacts that she's called. You can search by durations, campaigns, call results, inbound, outbound, all kinds of good stuff. But basically, if I wanted to start working, I go up here and I click on available, and then I click the campaign that I want. So let's click this South City High Equity Podio campaign, and boom, just like that, it should start dialing, I believe. Am I in the right thing? Look over here to dashboard. There we go. So you got to click this little guy here to see what's going on. So it says off, off, off. And I can enter a phone number manually if I wanted to do that. But I want to, let's see here. Let's go to prep work, and then let's go back to available. South City continue. And why are these not dialing? You can move this little thing around the screen, which is kind of nice. So I'm not doing something right here, guys. Let's try, go back to prep work, go to available. Let's try the Farmington one. What am I doing wrong? See, here's the thing. The funny thing is I'm not in here dialing typically. The callers are, right? I've got virtual assistants. They know how to use this system better than me. But basically, you're going to have your 3 dialers here. I'm going to keep trying to get this to work because I don't really know why it's not doing. 1 active campaign. Average call duration was 33 seconds. Average wait time 23. Average abandon time 29. So spent 10 hours talking. Why is this not working here? Let's try prep work. Let's refresh. Maybe because I have a duplicate window open. All right, so that should fix that. What's this saying? The deal machine campaign has no leads. The test campaign has no leads. I really just need to archive those campaigns. All right, let's go back over to available. South City High Equity. We're going to continue. And what the hell? Why is this not working? Let's try to change the user. So go back so I can log in as, let's try Jane. I don't know why this isn't working. Again, I'm not in here every day. They are, and they just send the leads over. It's the power of leverage and having a team. All right, let's try opening that first, then clicking available, do South City. Yep, I don't know why that's not doing that. I'm either going to have to ask the callers what I'm doing wrong, or it's probably just user error, guys. But I've done this about 10 times, and that's basically how I would do it. So there's something I'm doing wrong here. But basically, this is your dialer dashboard right here. You can see if a call would be dialing, or if it would be dropping a voicemail, or if it's busy or whatever. And then once it connects you, then it's going to pull up that information that would look like this, right? It's going to basically pull up who that person is. So if you wanted to take notes in real time, you could. You have your call script right there, so you can move this little guy kind of in and out of the way as needed. But I don't know why this isn't dialing, which is really weird. Let's go back to my dashboard and available. Let's take a break. And we're going to do South City High Equity continue. You know what I think I might need to do? I think I might know what I need to do here. Let's go. Let's take this over to offline. Let's go back to David. I might need to turn these campaigns on. So click on campaigns. Active. No active agents. If I click that, that actually goes to pause. So it should be active. Yeah, no paused campaigns. I can archive that campaign. And deal machine doesn't look like they had a whole lot of leads in that one either. We can probably just archive that campaign as well. But yeah, you want to make sure that the campaigns aren't paused, right? So I'm actually going to pause these two, and I'm going to force my VAs to start calling these two new ones that I've added. The ones that I've had in here, they have a ton of leads, and we're redialing a bunch of them and trying to get through of them. But you can see that we've basically sent 88 leads over. They're referred to as deals, but that's really just a lead from this campaign, and 53 from this campaign. So just in the last couple of months, we've had 130 opportunities. Now, that's not saying that's 130 deals, Tyler. You know that. But that's basically 130 people that raise their hand to say, hey, I'm interested in hearing an offer. So we're either going to set an appointment with those people, or we're going to make them a verbal offer, or we're going to just add them to the list of follow-ups and just hit them every week or two or month, or even with a call or a text just saying, hey, hope you haven't forgot about us, but we're still in the business of buying houses. And if you got one that you want to sell, let us know. All right, so I am in my admin area. I basically paused these two and added these two. I need to send a message to my VAs just real quick to let them know I have added 2 new campaigns. We will want to add these new leads from these 2 new campaigns to Podio. I can explain. When you already. I'm just sending over a note in Slack here, guys. You can't probably see my screen. That's fine. All right, so now they're aware that they have these two, and when they go to log in, they will only be able to access these two campaigns because I have essentially paused these two. So the only thing that you guys haven't seen is the actual system in progress. And let's try it one more time here. And if not, I'm either going to have to figure out. So also each user has their own calendar, right? So they can call back at any time for a particular task. You can edit an appointment. So each user will have their own ability to have a calendar, which is really neat. I found that to be kind of cool. All right, so let's go over to available. And you can see we've got less campaigns. These still are in here, but they won't work. If they click continue on those, nothing should happen, right? So really what I want to do is I want to click available, and I want to do like South City and click continue. And let's just give it a second. Or maybe I'm just going too fast. Maybe it's trying to just think and it starts to go here. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I'm not in here. I'm not the one in here doing this every day, Tyler. The virtual assistants are. And I know that they are dialing because leads are coming over. And you can see in here that, they've done, a lot of call results in the past. So I'm not exactly sure why this hasn't started, but typically you click it, boom, they start going right like that. So
that's how it worked for me yesterday. I was playing around with it, and I was calling people by accident, basically. I had made like 6 calls in a matter of like 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden they start popping up on the screen, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know I was calling people, but all right, here we go.
Yeah.
So it should just automatically start.
I think it should just start, but I'm going to send a message anyway. And they'll get back with you typically in under 5 minutes, so just be patient. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. So you just got to be patient with it. So I'm just going to respond back. Never mind. It's good to go. But yeah, it's dialing right now. And I have it set to beep, right? You can have it set to auto answer or to beep. I like it to beep. And when it beeps, it's going to connect you with somebody, right? And that basically means that there's somebody on the other end. So you can see here it's calling Soltran and some other guy here. And basically, if it gets to the voicemail, the system is dialing for you now. Like, oh, look at this. They have the greatest customer service. Yes. So, yeah, you just got to be patient with it. And again, if you have problems, reach out to their customer chat. Well, it was, then it stopped. Whoop. And it might be because I had it as available, and then I went on break and I clicked available again. I'm probably just going too fast. But, yep, let's try it again. Let's go back to break. Get rid of that. So we're on break. Let's ask her, is there typically a delay from when you select available and then select your campaign for starts dialing? Please try log out, then log back in again. All right, well, that's fine. So let's go back over to David, I guess. Let's try a quick log out and log back in. Maybe that'll fix it. If you're in there messing with a bunch of settings, it may require you to do that, So then I'm going to go log in again as just anybody. I don't think it really matters. Just click on Rochelle. And then we're going to click available, South City. And just be patient. Let's just give it a second. Looks like last time it just took a minute to get going here. But yeah, you got to, so if you click available though, Tyler, it's basically in the background, it's going.
Yeah,
if you don't have this little blue button selected, you might not see it. So yeah, make sure you keep that up. There it goes. All right, so there it is. So you got 3 lines down, and again, you could go all the way to 10, right? And I think that's why these are so small, is because some people do have 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 lines going at once. Hi, I'm looking for Anton. Hey, is this Anton? Hello. Hello. So I guess that auto hung up. It sounded like a beep, like an answer machine. So maybe, I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes it may take a minute to think, but all dialers are going to have some bugs here and there, right? So yeah, just be patient with it. It should start dialing again. Oh, no, it says auto pause. So you can keep an eye up there. So click available, back to South City. And you can just go back to your dashboard. What's up, Mike?
We got a management call.
Oh yeah, we do have a call, don't we?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, I gotta hop off, but yeah, Tyler, it's going again here, man. That's it. That's basically the basic tutorial. Go up into settings and add your phone numbers. I'm not in my admin account here, so we'll just kind of go ahead and. Yeah, hi, I'm looking for Betty. Hello. Hello, is this Betty? I could hear Betty breathing, so I know that it connected. She just didn't. She just probably thought I was a spammer or something. No big deal. You're gonna get that, right? Already it goes back to auto pause. Yeah, so just keep an eye up here. That's basically it, though. You click available, you click your campaign, and it'll start going. So just kind of be patient with it. I'm gonna put that on break. I'm gonna go back over to David. Yeah, so basically when you just get set up though, guys, you're going to want to go up to your settings, and you are going to go to your audio library, and you're going to record yourself a voicemail. All right. Next, you're going to go into your phone system, and you're going to purchase some phone numbers so you can actually have something to call on. You probably only need 1 per agent, but again, I have 2. It's just what they recommended. So I don't know if that's even necessary. And then last but not least, you want to make sure you have your call results set up with one of them being drop voicemail. And once you're in there, that you actually have a rule to send the voicemail when you click the drop voicemail button. So just like most dialers, once you get to the screen where it's like, you know, we didn't get there, of course, because I didn't get far enough. But if you're dialing and you hear the voicemail, the call results box is going to pop up. So you just click the drop voicemail. And the reason that I like that you have to click it is because a lot of times when the system does it on your behalf, it cuts the message short. It starts recording before it actually beeps. So what they've done is they've basically said, hey, you click the button to drop the voicemail, but at least you can select when. So I really like that feature, because if you wait, or if you start recording and the voicemail hasn't, started, or I should say you start broadcasting that message and the voicemail box hasn't even started recording yet, it may cut off the first word. It may cut off the first sentence. So I usually wait until I hear a beep, and then even a second or two after that, then click to drop the voicemail. That way it sounds more human and it sounds more real. All right. That's really it, Tyler. Keep it simple. Cool. Yeah, reports are where you would go to monitor people if you had those. This is typically what I do, guys. I'll come over here to the dialer throughout the day, and I'll go over here to reports, and I'll just see if there's any calls. And sometimes I'll have 2 people, maybe even 3 on the clock, and I'll have like 10 calls right here. And I'll basically wait until I see one that's connected and they've been on the phone for at least 30 seconds. If it's less than 30 seconds, that person's probably asking, how did you get my number? Who are you? And it's just, I don't really care to listen to that, right? But if I see a call that they've been on for 2 or 3 minutes, I'm like, boom, I want to listen in. And again, I can't demo this because nobody's dialing right this second. But I can either listen in or I can barge in, and those options will be right over here on the right side. So listen in is obviously just listening. The barge feature is really cool because it actually will allow me to connect into that call as if I was on the call. Like it's a three-way basically. So whenever we do those barge calls, we will just essentially say, oh, hey, Jane, I just got back in the office. How's it going? You know, and then basically let Jane do the introduction with the seller to me. I'll just barge in and just say, hey, I'm back in the office. What's going on? And then Jane or Rochelle or whoever my callers are can say, oh, hey, Dave, thanks for joining. You know, I'm actually on a call with Susan right now, and Susan owns a property over in Frontenac, right? And she's actually looking to sell it this month. And you know, I was just explaining to Susan that, you know, we pay cash and that we close fast. You know, Dave, maybe you could set up an appointment with her, right? And just basically you just work as a team to talk. But I mean, but Susan doesn't know that I'm not like in the office sitting next to Jane, right? You can be anywhere in the world. Like all of our cold callers are actually in the Philippines. So the barge feature, I think, is really, really powerful. And it's one of these things that, you know, you have to actually go in and monitor, though. If you're not in there monitoring, it'll never get you any use. So, but that's it, man. I mean, it's cool. Pretty robust, but at the same time, it's actually pretty simple. You know, I mean, setting it all up.
User friendly.
Yeah, I'd say setting it up probably takes you maybe, you know, 10 minutes to just do everything, you know, just to double check it all and get your lists added and make sure that your campaigns are configured. But after that, man, you just go in and click available and just sit back and just let it connect you with people, you know? So
awesome.
Sweet. Well, Tyler, let me know if you have any questions, man. Anybody else that's watching, guys, go check out batchdialer.com/Dave. There should be a link below this video because it's going to get you a 7-day free trial and unlimited outbound dialing during that trial, guys. Typically, this service is, I mean, I'll just full transparency. I go over here to settings and I click on my billing. I'm paying $297 a month, but I have 3 agents. Now, you can add supervisors and admins at no cost. So you'll notice that if I go up here and I click log in as, I have Rochelle, Jane, and Dana as my 3 callers. And that's what I'm paying, you know, basically $297 divided by 3 would be $100 a person, basically, right? But I also have Dennis, who is a supervisor, as well as Kareen, who is a supervisor. So they can basically, if they don't have anything that they're doing, like I don't have any tasks for them, these are other virtual assistants, by the way, they can go in and they can listen in and or barge in to help out as well. Guys, teamwork makes the dream work. And I know I'm going to convince Tyler to bring a virtual assistant on here in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely. But, you know, the ability to add other people without having to pay more is really cool. You're basically only paying for the dialer seats. So I essentially could, I probably won't, but I could even reduce my cost by $100 a month and go down to 2 agents. And the reason I say that is because I have 3 virtual assistants right now, but there's never more than 2 people calling at the same time. You know, they work 20-hour shifts, but I usually have a 9 to 10, 11, 12, 9 to 1 shift. And then I have like a 2 to 6 shift. So I essentially could have 4 people on payroll, you know, with only 2 agent seats, as long as, you know, all 4 of those people weren't trying to dial more than, you know, at the same time, basically 2 at a time, and they could just use the same login. So, you know, there's definitely ways to get creative and create even more efficiencies out of this by having, you know, basically a license that can be shared amongst multiple people. You know what I'm saying? So just something to be aware of. But yeah, all in all, keep it simple, man. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's it. All right, guys, signing off. We'll see you next time.